Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode 17.
Apparently.
Yeah, we fucked that up last time.
No, I fucked it up. My apologies. But
I could have checked.
I mean, we could have passed it off as that was a test and everyone passed, but it wasn't, and we failed.
Yes,
but thanks.
We failed the test, yeah. But on the bright side, at least that means some people are listening because it was pointed out to us.
I know. Thank you, and we're still a bit astounded.
Yeah. The thing with this podcast is it's very quick and easy for me to edit this together. And you'll remember last time we filmed the podcast, recorded the podcast, and my dogs went nuts during the middle of it. And I was going to cut that out and put in the 2 hours later thing, right?
From SpongeBob.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that. And then as soon as it uploaded, 5 minutes after I uploaded, I suddenly went, I've not done it. So I had to run and pull it all down and re-edit it all and actually put the clip in. So it is up as intended. But good. Yeah, some people might have heard the original version where I didn't even listen to what you said into the microphone for 3 minutes while I went and answered the door. So hopefully there were no racist tirades in there because I know you're partial to those.
According to the guy that wrote the Reddit review for Party Cannon, apparently so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that wedding we never went to that we were anti-Semitic at. Okay, sound.
So, yeah, we've got a few things to talk about today. We're aiming to record a doubler today, and one of them will probably be video only. I'll upload it in audio form, why not? But we're going to, in the video only section, we're going to do a rundown of the new Gibson 2018-2019 run.
I say to Levi, should we call it good sick or bad sick?
Yeah.
Because are they sick as in stay sick, brother, or are they literally puking on your own stuff sick?
I think you can probably guess.
Aye.
So we will do that towards the end. We're going to talk about, there's some music business stuff happening, lots of people, lots of artists giving, I'm not going to say conflicting opinions, but their ideas on the direction of the music industry, and some of them struggling and others saying we're not struggling as much because we focus more on business. I think stuff like that's always interesting and very useful to people that are out there in the music industry trying to carve a living for themselves.
Absolutely.
If you're struggling to do that, maybe you're neglecting the business side of things. Which actually leads quite nicely into that Michael Jackson story that went up just recently. So we'll get to talk about that.
I mean, you say it's a Michael Jackson story, is it? Yeah. Is it not?
Yeah, the Michael Fakeson. And we're going to talk about Joey Sturgis and Joey Sturgis tones and his the false flagging thing, and because obviously thoughts exist around that whole situation. But yeah, anything else happening? Anything you want to tell us about? How was your tour?
It was pretty good, thank you. It was just
festival.
A festival for Death Feast. It was great fun. I was ill as fuck the first day we got there, so I went to bed at 6 and missed the band I was most excited to see all weekend, Cerebral Incubation. Unfortunately, I heard them from my tent, but I was too busy lying there like with all my clothes on under my sleeping bag and my inflatable mattress that was slowly deflating, and I was so ill that I couldn't do anything about it. But Saturday was good. We had a lot of fun. Oh, we got a really bad review for the gig.
Really?
Where someone said the guitars sounded like...
Now let me jump in here. Where is this review?
It's in like Dutch. You need to translate it. It's really bad. I'll try and find it. We can look at it another day.
We'll read it on the next.
Anyway, I forgot all about it. It says something along the lines of like the guitars sounded like gravel, the vocals were pitiful. It sounded like we were playing different songs from each other.
I mean, I agree with that.
It also insinuated that Josh, the guy that was in the crowd that we brought the inflatable wheel for, a friend of ours, it was insinuated that he was actually part of the band, and it was a really bad inside job to hype up the crowd. Like, okay, sure, why not? He's definitely been on stage at every other gig we've played in the last 5 years, somewhat.
Yeah, I saw that clip. That was glorious. In fact, I'm going to say it and then completely not do it, but I should cut in a clip of the whale surfing at a gig. That was. What's the story there?
It was Josh's birthday. Josh is a good friend of the band's, and he was at Death Feast, and we decided we're going to do something special for his birthday, and it was just going to be like a shout out for the song, but we had all these inflatables to take with us. We'd bought 25 beach balls, and we also had the inflatable whale from a previous time we were going to take inflatables to a gig, and we just thought, let's take that with us and see if we can get people to crowd surf Josh on that for his birthday, and fucking hell they did. It was good.
Champions.
It was very good.
I actually have a question about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are they reusable props? Do you try and resource those at the end?
Not even slightly.
Well, that leads us really nicely into music business, because that seems like a terrible music business decision to me.
I disagree.
I don't know how expensive inflatables are.
I mean, I think 25 beach balls is probably about 25 quid. So really, not that much. And we don't do it for every gig. Like Dead Feast, the biggest open air we've played at. We've only played 2 open airs to be fair, but one of the biggest gigs at least in terms of actual attendance and the lineup, etc. So we thought, let's do something just, it wasn't expensive or heavy going, but we'll do something a bit different.
I bet the whale wasn't cheap though.
I think it was like 6 quid.
I mean,
you know me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean when I say I bet that wasn't cheap. Even if you were splitting that among each band member, I'm sure you were raging about that.
£1.20 each, boys. Cough up.
Okay. So yeah, music business. Let's talk music business. So we get to talk about our old buddies, like we're good friends with them or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Mastodon and Devon Townsend have come up on the last 2 podcasts.
Yeah, and they seem to be very prevalent in talking about their exposure to the music business side and their ventures outside of it, and basically where they stand at the moment, not just financially, but in terms of like their own business plans. Like you can see where they've put things in place to help them raise funds or keep their funds high, or where they maybe haven't. I mean, it looks unfortunately at the moment like Brent Hines' stuff is that he's not doing as well as he should be doing, considering the size of Mastodon as a band. And Devon's talking about how much there's so much hard work to go into them touring and everything else to do with it, and they might have not broken even, but he's also still got other business ventures that he seems to have in place that are clever, at least. And I mean, obviously you had your problems with the pricing based on his the online course and the free book that wasn't a book, it was an ebook, because you are a pedantic motherfucker. No, the two of them
I'm an accurate motherfucker.
Still pedantic.
Maybe.
But yeah, the 2 of them obviously came up in the last few episodes as well. But once again, we have Brent Hines with a beautiful quote along the lines of, feels like he's being milked dry, or milked like a dry hyena's titty, or something like that. Is that the right wording?
Where is it?
Let's find it. It was a pretty good one. Being milked like a dry hyena titty, I have nothing left for anyone. They've worked me to my fucking soul. It is almost gone.
I hate to hear people in... it's you're never sure whether someone's saying stuff like that because they're genuinely very down, or if they're being very dramatic to try and instill some sort of change, get people to really look at the situation. So I'm not entirely sure on this one, but we were talking about mental health before, and we intend to obviously do a big, I was going to say an expose on mental health, like debunking mental health.
No, quite the opposite.
Yeah, but yeah, actually reading a quote like that after talking about problems that people are having with mental health, that sounds like a really bad mental state that he's in at the moment.
Yeah,
it's just it's a shame, because Mastodon is such a great band,
and it's not as if they're not like well known. It's not as if they don't have massive gigs and great touring schedules. Like, they do well. I think they sell pretty well as well, even outside of just like people that are into kind of prog rock stuff. Like, I don't want to say they're like accessible as if that's a bad thing, but they are. They've got songs that are almost kind of poppy.
Yeah.
And I think to find that a band who should really be riding the wave of 2 different sets of fans and crowds and support isn't doing so well, is pretty disappointing.
Yeah. Having said that, I'm going to switch over to the Slash story. We'll come back to Devon, just because it shows a totally different perspective on the situation.
Yep.
Because when we talked about Mastodon going over to Australia and like losing money on their tour, my default position on that was, how has that happened? Why have you not been more savvy?
Yep.
How has your management let this happen? Like, you should know before you go on tour, not exactly down to the penny how much you're going to make or whatever, but
you should at least
have a good idea.
Even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Slash has recently said that he refuses to sign with a major label because I don't want to pay everything I make to somebody else, which is, I mean, it's a privileged position to be in, right? Because obviously Slash can afford that, to be in that position. But aiming towards that, I don't know, could Mastodon go completely independent?
There's bands who have done it to make themselves into a good position. Like the kind of first example I can think of is Enter Shikari. Yep. They basically just ground rooted themselves from MySpace upwards, started their own label. I think they're now on Sony if they're not still independent. But their success is completely down to the fact that they just went, nope, we are doing whatever's best for us.
Yep.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, it's what I mean by that is it's doable.
Well,
it's not easy.
Periphery are moving in that direction, aren't they? Of like,
yeah, that's true.
You know, it's cutting out the middleman. So let me read some of these quotes. This was an LA Weekly interview, which we're just taking from Ultimate Guitar because they just take stories from elsewhere, and so we'll do the same. He says he doesn't want to sign to a big major label. He started his own label, and he has Majors distributing, which makes sense. That works great for me. I'm in control. I'm my own boss. I don't have to pay everything I make to somebody else. It's crazy business right now, especially for up-and-coming rock bands.
Absolutely.
Which, the danger is there's a knock-on effect here. When the big, smart guys with money behind them can move away from this, well, the labels, they still need to make their money. Are they just going to nickel and dime the small bands even more? Pick the bones of the young up-and-comers.
Should the up-and-comers not have the support network as well then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I think, like we're giving advice here.
I know.
But anyone that knows me knows that's my style. Like I'm not going to let anyone else take advantage of me. It's why I got sick of playing in a fucking band, to be honest, because there's always someone just wanting to take and use you as a way of making money.
Come and play my pub for 3 hours. I'll maybe give you a couple of drinks, but we can't pay you.
Yeah.
So you want me to entertain all your patrons and bring people through the door so you can make money on the door charge and the bar, and I got a pat in the back? No. Yeah. Oh, hey, your new single's out soon. Could I? Do you want us to play it on our radio show? It'll be good exposure. That's how I make money. Honey, just cancel the direct debit. We don't need to pay the mortgage this month. We've got exposure. What?
It's an old cliche to even joke about exposure, isn't it now? Mm-hmm. But like it still is just as big an issue as it always was. Like these are the things that we do in order to make money. So crazy. So hopefully it's never going to happen, is it? I always talked about the idea of like unionization. Musicians deserve it. We deserve to fucking band together and stick up for each other. And other industries are okay going on strike. I'll never forget the fucking evidently I forget the year, but the writers' strike that happened in Hollywood years back that meant that 1 year there was TV seasons of shows that normally were like 12 episodes that all went down to like 7 or 8 episodes.
I think it was 2012 or something like that.
Somewhere around that period.
Yeah, I remember that. It was quite prolific actually.
That's crazy. And similar things happening in video games, which is obviously a topic we talked about last week. I was going to say last week, but last show there was voice actors wanting to go on strike for their performances in video games because they are an integral part of modern video games.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like you think of Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid, you think of David Hayter. You do.
Do you not think of Kiefer Sutherland?
No. Do you?
No.
And I think that's my point. Like he was.
That's why there was such an uproar.
Absolutely, he was just dropped, and I think there wasn't quite enough uproar about that. So I can understand why people who are prolific voice actors and who are very well known for what they do, and especially known for certain characters, shouldn't get the shitty end of the stick in that respect. Not to say that the studios don't have the right and the freedom to have other actors, but it's very disrespectful to drop someone who's been the voice of and pretty much part of the rise and fame of a certain character and franchise to just be like, sorry, we've got somebody else now, bye.
Yeah, we've got somebody that's going to cost us a lot more money, and with the reason we've got this person that's going to cost us a lot more money is because we believe it's going to make more people buy the game. Is that what they were going for there?
No idea.
I mean, Kiefer Sutherland did a fine job as
Solid Snake. Definitely. He's a great voice actor and a great actor in general, but
just because someone's famous, it doesn't make them a great voice actor. I will refer you to Peter Dinklage's role in Destiny, which
I haven't heard it.
He got patched out of the game after the fact. They updated it and completely removed him from the game because he was such a bad voice actor.
That's bad.
So, hire professionals. Like, the big names in that would go and mega off topic, but the big names, the reason guys like Nolan North and Troy Baker do so well in voice acting in video games is because they're really, really good at that.
That generally happens. People who are good at things get a lot of work because they are good at the work, and they are known as being good at the work, reliable, professional. Generally how it works, isn't it?
Having said that, if somebody would like to hire us for voice acting work in video games,
I'd love to do that. Can you imagine the worst two protagonists in any game series you've ever seen?
The angry guy and the guy that no one can understand. That was,
Yeah, pretty much.
Our gimmick. Anyway, I'll carry on.
I can do accents though.
Yeah, prove it.
No.
You've got a good Scottish accent, I'll give you that.
Fuck off, Levi.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Levi Clay. That's what you cunts are always going on about. Anyway, so
We don't even need to mock you. You mock yourself.
I know. Devin Townsend has reacted to Brent Hines saying that he needs a break, and says that as much as I love my job, I'm unbelievably grateful for what I do. Reading Brent's account on Metal Sucks resonates with a lot of people that I know. And I like that he said that. It's not just that it resonates a lot with me. He's alluding to the fact that behind the scenes, we're all talking to each other, and a lot of us are struggling with this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very different job than it was a decade ago. Which, Devin's being smart with things, isn't he? Though he's,
of course,
making money.
But he's still speaking honestly. He's saying that even just alluding to the fact that it's a very different job than it even was a decade ago, like that. He's probably talking about the circumstances of when you're not performing, or the money that goes into the actual performances themselves, because Devin always pushes for big shows and big production. That must cost him to some degree as well, because his top end gets less and less and less, and whatever what he's going to walk away with can't be any better than it was before for every time he decides to get it at a bigger show. Or, for example, when he played in Poland last year and recorded that, and he had the full live symphony, and he done Ocean Machine, like this. The money that must get poured into that's insane. And I think it's good that he does, just as you said, really very much that he acknowledges it, because there must be a lot more to that as well. I think a couple of points down on that, he was talking about it's not so much the performance, it's the other 23 hours a day that people seem to not pick up on. It's a constant reality. There's not a whole lot of other folk that can relate to. There's not a lot of training for it, and it can be very dark. That's
all that time that goes into being a touring musician, and you've only got those, probably 22 hours.
Yeah, but you think about it, travelling time, a little bit of sleep, waiting at venues or whatever, loading out, sound check, then you're hanging around.
Who likes travel,
I do personally, but I don't do that much of it.
Do you like sitting on a bus though for like 8 hours a day?
It must be better than sitting in a Volkswagen Passat with 4 other men sweating.
The novelty will wear off very quick, right?
I don't mind though. I quite like travelling, so I'm quite funny that way.
It's cool if you when you say travelling though, do you mean the sitting in the car, or do you mean getting to see new places? When you get to the place and you can go out and have a look around?
Both, really. As stupid as that sounds, like I do love when we get to do touristy stuff and when I get to go and explore, or you've secured a gig, but we're going to go for 3 days. Fuck it, we'll play the gig and we'll have a couple of days off to go and do what we want, which we've done a few times. But I don't find that any more beneficial or better than sitting in the car, because maybe I'm in a bit of a privileged position. I don't know if all bands are the same, but the guys I'm in the band with, I love spending time with them. I don't see them all that often, apart from at band practice and playing gigs. So when you get to spend time together as friends, you get to find that you do really like the guys. It's not just a professional relationship. Not you get to know that, but you get to remind yourself that you've got a good connection with these people outside of just playing instruments with them and write music together. So.
I'm speculating on this one, but Party Cannon also aren't on the road 250 days a year.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think we play, on average, maybe a gig a month. The way it works out usually, because we'll have like a month or two, we don't have too much, then we'll have like a weekender. Unless we've got like a tour booked, in which case we'll get quite a lot in. But we're not sitting on a tour bus together for 9 months a year, because I think we'd all probably be arrested for attempted murder on each other at some point.
Yeah. And
sincerely.
The sad thing is, like, this again, it's just common business sense, right? You're in a band, you're on the road as much as you are, like Devin. You mentioned load in and load out. Well, maybe you don't want to have to deal with that, so you pay someone to do that for you. Maybe you don't want to travel in a small car, so you have a bus instead, which means you have to pay a driver. You need a bigger crew. The more comfort you want on the road, the more things you want to stop you from wanting to kill yourself, results in your profits just being dwindled away.
Well, that's it. I mean, everything's got its pros and its cons. You might be more comfortable, but you've got less money to take away for all your efforts. You might scrimp on that and be not so comfortable and have shows that you maybe don't feel you're giving 100%, but you've got more money when you go home. It's entirely down to you. You might save money by not having roadies.
I think we refer to that as the Mick Foley method. Famously driven the same car for like 25 years.
Just total DIY.
Yeah.
Aye, that's...
Won't get his own hotels. Will ask anyone else that's getting a hotel if he can sleep on their floor.
What a badass, man. Love the guy. Yeah. What was the band that... Sorry to go off topic. What was the band that done the competition where you could buy a position as a roadie? Can you remember that? I think we spoke about it.
Happening. I do remember that happening.
Because I'm just thinking that's the only entrepreneurial way to really increase your budget for tours.
Some modern metal band.
And they got fucking ripped for it, deservedly. Come and be a... Was it Five Finger Death Punch?
Keep talking, I'll do a search.
I'm pretty sure that's who it was. Anyway, if memory serves correctly, basically it was pay us money and you can be a roadie and you will get a t-shirt. You'll help us load all our equipment in, put it up on stage. You'll maybe get to meet the band. Then you can just get in the normal crowd and fuck off and be a wee fucking normal person again. You're gone. Off you go. Prole. It's just, I can't remember who it was.
No, I can't find it. I'm sure I remember. Oh, here we go. Band is charging fans $150 to work in their road crew.
Oh, Suicide Silence. That's who it was. Oh my goodness. $150 to be part of their road crew, aka pay to work for them. Work alongside the crew. Side stage for Suicide Silence. Exclusive Sue Crew t-shirt. Working crew laminate. Food with the crew. Mingle with the band during sound check. No? Like, I know I'm completely off topic, I'm sorry, but...
That's what a good conversation is, though, you know?
Definitely. Like, I was quite lucky in 2015, I met Eddie Hermida, who's the front man for Suicide Silence, certainly at the time of this article. And he's a really nice guy, and I've got a lot of time for him. But I just think that's crazy. I really do. I mean... I don't think they meant that with any disrespect to their fans. I don't think it was meant to be like a real scalp you, but that's definitely the vibe I get.
Yeah, well, it's not really going off topic at all because, again, like I'm looking at this and I totally see both sides. The thing with an opportunity like this is it's, using the word opportunity, it's totally not an opportunity for everybody, but some people probably will be more than happy to pay $150 just to be able to watch one of their favourite bands from the side of the stage.
Well, that's it. It's a VIP ticket. But you need to do something for it as well as pay. You need to... you might find that they get there and they'll not actually get any jobs to do.
Yeah.
You don't... but it's the way it's advertised.
Yeah, I'd go as far as saying you probably had no fucking jobs to do because you wouldn't be able to for insurance reasons, you know? I would hazard that guess.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just been advertised wrong. And to be fair, I don't actually feel this was the example I've seen. So I feel...
Really?
I remember it being a band that I knew about. And I don't know anything about this band, so I'll look into this. Yeah, I don't know why. I'll never mention it again on the show. But
anyway, we digress.
Ola England, very much on the same kind of vein of things. There's been some... I didn't check where this is from. So a recent Tome and Music Workshop. I actually think it's an older thing. But essentially, you know, Ola England, one of the great modern metal YouTube guys. He's has a great channel. He's very entertaining. I watch most of his videos, to be fair. I enjoy his question and answers. I think he's got a personality, which is important, right? And,
yeah, absolutely. You're not just there for like what he can do, you're there for him. And that's quite right. And I quite like him as well. Like, he can make a guitar sound fucking shit hot.
Yeah.
You need to give him those props right away.
He can sell me gear, and I'm going to go on a rant on this one, right? So it was his review of the Fortin Zool noise gate pedal.
I know where this is going.
Absolutely want a Fortin Zool, right? So
of course you do.
And I own a TC Sentry, which is a killer. Like, to be fair, could possibly be the best noise gate on the market, the TC Sentry. And I'll tell you why, right?
It's not a decimeter, sorry.
Aside from having the equivalent of the Zool key input, right? You can also make your own tone prints for that. You can literally go into the software and set up the gate to literally gate certain frequencies, which is a lot. There's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, that's professional level.
like that.
Fair,
yeah,
to be fair.
yeah, that's rack mounted gear. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that is actually how you get rid of feedback. You find out which frequencies are chiming and you remove them.
Yeah, so so it is a killer pedal. But I like buying new gear, so I thought I'd grab myself a Fortin's All. I went on Fortin's website, $225 for the pedal, which isn't cheap for a pedal with one knob on it. But
I'm pretty sure they're limited run as well, though. So you're getting something that's going to be.
Are they limited run?
I know that the 33
that was
limited.
Limited.
I think the rest are probably going to be maybe not the same. I might be wrong, but I mean, Mike Fortin stuff at the moment is fucking boom.
Yeah. So 225.
Big up, Mike, if you're listening, please mod my amp. Please take my crank off me and just play with it.
Yeah, please sort me out a better deal on your pedal. No, it's not the pedal. I'm fine to pay that for the pedal.
It's the shipping.
And it was also on sale as well, down from 275 as well, I think. So good deal. I added it to my basket. I went to pay for it, and it was $70 to ship it. And the problem, maybe it's just the way Mike set up his website, but you only had one option for shipping, which was $70, and it was international priority.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't need the pedal in 3 to 5 days.
It's probably to do with insurance.
Yeah, $70. That's taking the cost of the pedal up to $300, which is a bit steep. And then you factor in that you're going to pay import duty on that figure. So that $300 would become $360, $370 for that. It's just, it's not Mike that's done that.
No, of course
that's
not.
just the nature of the beast. It's just crippling international sales. Postage is just. I've stopped buying CDs for that reason. Trying to get a CD from the States and paying more than the CD cost just to get it shipped to me. It's ridiculous.
That's insanity. It really is.
So on that note, well, not quite on that note, but Ola says, no one gives a shit about your album. It's harsh, but it's true. The album format is dead.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we had this conversation with Rusty. We were talking about it being the EPs are the way forward, really.
Yep.
Like, you can't hold people's attention.
Yep, Andy James is doing the same. His new album is an album coming out, but he's making a big deal of each track on it, and he's releasing each one as a single with a proper produced video for it, which, makes sense. Buy the transcriptions. I wonder who's doing those. Yeah.
No idea.
Me neither.
Probably somebody shit.
Yeah, probably. So, yeah. I'm not going to go through and read this, but Ola's. I'm not going to say on the money, but I'm interested by his perspective on things. I can't say he's right. Like I agree with him, but I can't say he's right. I can only say I agree with him. And then finally, in that music business side of things, we've got Steel Panther. Will reveal why they refuse to have a manager and insist that too many rock bands neglect the business aspect of music, which I can't disagree with that. Far too many bands neglecting the business side of things. It's horrible. We all go into music for art, the love, the expression, the wanting to entertain people. But I've said it so many times, like, music business has 2 words in it, and only one of them is music.
Yeah. But I think for younger bands, they probably have seen the stereotype that is, your band plays, you play in pubs, you then start to get support slots for bigger bands, you play bigger venues, somebody comes and talent scouts you, you sign a contract, and that's when things start to get real. Like, it happens way before that. Like, that is the rose-tinted glasses version of the 70s, for when the music industry wasn't out just to shaft the life out of you and get as much money as they could from you. I don't think it was quite as lucrative then, just for the business side rather than the musicians. You need to be way, way more on top of it. And I don't think it's just ignorance. I think some people are maybe just a bit too gullible. Because, I mean, there's been bands out there that have paid labels money thinking it was going to get them further and being fucked over by it. I mean, Rising Records, I don't know if you know much about them. That's something we can look into and you can talk about. But a band from Scotland, Bleed From Within, signed up with them, and it turned out they'd been scalped for something like 10 grand. And they were not the only band. There were a lot of bands in the UK that got scalped, and the guy is still on the run, stays somewhere in Spain, owns a pub. Like, it's fucked. But that's like the worst case scenario. That's like an actual crook. The best case scenario is that they get the contract wrong and you get quite a lot of benefits, or they see something in you that you maybe don't realise you have, and you do get looked after. But the reality of it is going to be, you need to make sure that contract is in your favour, is in your benefit, and is right for your band and the business that you're in.
Yep.
Which you might need advice on, you might need help on, you might need to think about, and you might have to pass up some what you think are opportunities that you shouldn't be passing up on. Yep. But that's the reality of it. exactly as Levi said, there's two words in there, music and business. And business often is what's in it for me versus what's in it for me versus what's in it for them. And is it really fair? Who really benefits most here? And the significant majority of the time when it comes to the music industry, that is the music industry that benefits the most. So
I'm actually gonna read this because I'm enjoying this. This is an interview Jeff Hayden conducted with Inc.com with Styx, the drummer from Steel Panther, and I find this most enjoyable because not only have you got someone demonstrating how important the business side of music is, it's coming from a fucking drummer. A drummer.
Who knew they could talk?
He stopped dribbling long enough to be able to string a sentence together, and he's talking absolute sense here. Like, am I a huge Steel Panther fan? No, not in the slightest. I have got myself a Pussy Melter on order just because why not?
Because you're a horrendous misogynist.
Yes, absolutely. I absolutely hate women. I absolutely hate women. He says, waving his wedding ring around. I feel fortunate to play rock. This is Styx. I feel fortunate to play rock and roll for a living. But you do have to look at it as a business. Too many bands don't. They don't pay attention to the business side until it's too late. I've been super preachy with a lot of bands because I want them to keep what they make. I don't want to see them 10 years down the road having to scratch out a living because they weren't paying attention to their business. And then Jeff goes on to ask for an example. And Styx says, take management. Managers are fantastic for some bands, especially if the band is just starting out. And maybe some top bands need managers since the overall enterprise is so huge. Makes sense? But many mid-level artists can do just fine without a manager, especially if they're willing to take on some of the things that you really should, as a working musician, already know how to manage. One of the things that really sparked the self-management concept for us was when I thought of the basic math of a tour. Just for the sake of argument, let's pretend you booked a tour in Australia, and I can't help but look at this and wonder if he's just recently read was it Brent Hines?
It was Mastodon. Are you talking about the Tesseract one?
I know it was Mastodon. I'm just wondering if it was Brent or...
It was Brent that was talking about it,
okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's pretend you booked a tour in Australia for a guarantee of $500,000. If you have a 15% gross deal with your management, they take 75 grand. Then you have to factor in withholding taxes, let's say 20%. You're already out 175 grand. Then you pay for travel for your crew, you pay your per diems, you pay your daily wages, food, lodging, tour buses. When it all shakes out, that's £500,000, $500,000 that's turned into 130,000. The average band has 5 people, so split that 130 grand 5 ways. You've each come home with 25 grand. Wonder if my wife's actually going to deal with those. So you each come home with 25 grand. For comparison's sake, an A-list sound guy makes 3.5 grand a week. So he comes home with 14 grand and your manager made 75 grand. Yet you're one of the 5 guys that people came to see and you only make 25 grand. It's crazy. Like, totally right. Like, that's... You have to know that going in. And this is based on a 15% deal with a manager. I feel that standard is 20%.
I wouldn't know. We don't have a manager.
Yeah.
For that very reason.
That may have come down, but when I was doing my degree in music, and we did music business classes, like I was told to expect 20%. So maybe that has shifted, but yeah, that's what I feel. 20%. So I mean, be smart.
Yeah. Don't pay people when you don't, if you don't have to. Not when you don't have to, but if you don't have to. When you don't have to, sounds like you're withholding wages.
Yeah. 75 grand. That's
But I don't think the 75 grand is the big point here. I think his point is that the 5 guys in the band are only walking away with 25 grand each, but if you have a single manager who is taking that cut as their commission for a company, then they've made 3-year guy's salary for one person.
Yeah.
If the cut was fairer that way, then that'd be different. But it's because they're taking that their percentage from the total figure rather than the percentage of what the actual profit is at the end.
Yep.
But hey ho, that's the
evidently he goes on to say that, plus factor in that the manager gets to stay home. It's a lot of money to make for
sitting your arse.
Sitting your arse. I mean, you've done some work to set it up, but and then factor in the fact you're probably managing several bands.
Yeah. Yep. The only time I've had any interactions with a management company and agent who was interested in taking on a band I was in, or a band I am in, Party Cannon, was pretty much laughed at because what he was offering for what he expected to be paid direct debit every 3 months was completely immeasurable.
Yeah.
There was no way to quantify if he'd actually done anything.
Yeah.
And we kind of looked at it like, I've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
Like we're more than willing to work on it because it seems like a good opportunity, but how you want us to sign up is completely, I don't know, at odds with how we deal with our own business. So if the band itself isn't making money from these tours, at least not any others are walking away with money, why should we be paying somebody else that's going to then take money off the top of that, of what we're already not getting?
Yeah.
For opportunities that might not happen, for unquantifiable information, nah, you're okay. So
let's completely skip over this Michael Jackson thing in like 5 seconds.
Yep, Michael Jackson released music from Beyond the Grave that isn't Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
The end.
Which is pretty apparent when you listen to the tracks. Like, you're like, that doesn't sound quite right.
I mean, I've never heard any song that Michael Jackson's done in his history where he talks about himself in the third person. I mean, that's a surefire guaranteed way that people are going to go, wait a minute, why would they say his own name as part of this song only to try and legitimise that he in fact recorded this song before he died?
Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. This is something we're going to have to come back to because this case is still ongoing, right? And Sony Music concedes that they released fake Michael Jackson songs, but at this stage, they are very much saying, look, we didn't know. And Mike, I fucking believe them. I absolutely believe them. And I'll tell you why. Like, you work for a label. Your band has a record deal, right?
Certainly.
If I played guitar on your record and it was shit, it would be dreadful. If I played guitar on your record, right? Your label's not going to know. They're not going to care. These tracks weren't produced by the label. They were produced by a producer in a studio that then just submitted the tracks to Sony, and someone at Sony went, cool. Could they have done their due diligence? And
could they have used their ears? Could they have listened to one single track like we did for 15 seconds and went, that's not Michael Jackson?
But as crazy as this sounds...
He hadn't even started singing before I said that's not a Michael Jackson track because it sounds nothing like anything he would ever put out.
But you're making the assumption that anyone that works at Sony
has ears,
either knows anything about music or even gives a shit about anything music related.
It's all about money, isn't it?
Exactly. Whereas, we're really passionate about music, so we listen to that and actually listen to the music. Whereas anyone at Sony is listening to that and going, right, how are we going to market this? How much money is this going to make us? So, when I say that I absolutely believe that they didn't know, I lean towards that. I think that this has probably come as... I feel it's probably come as a shock to them.
Nah, I think it's the Donald Trump defence. There's no proof. I didn't know anything about it. I'm not doing it. It was them. It's that person. Not me.
There will be proof somewhere if they knew about it, because the producers will absolutely have had to. I don't think that proof's going to turn up, and I think this is going to get landed on the person that produced the tracks.
So it's definitely the Donald Trump defence then.
I mean, you say that like just because we've not been able to prove someone's guilty, they must be guilty. We just couldn't prove it.
No, I don't mean it like that at all. But what I do mean is that's definitely not Michael Jackson, and I would.
Oh yeah, no, it's
I don't believe there's any morals involved in the label in terms of what they've got to release.
Let's jump in here. Are you telling me that there's no morals in the music business?
I mean, it's hard to take in. I know, and they might not have had this chat with you, son, but I think it's time. You're old enough now.
You can tell me about it, Daddy.
Don't ever call me Daddy. That was fucking wrong.
Sorry, Mummy. Yeah. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the last thing. So this is again, this will be relatively quick because this is pretty cut and dry, right?
Yeah.
Being a YouTuber myself, 13,000 subscribers and counting. Go click subscribe, motherfuckers.
Yep. Hit that like button.
I mean, it's like you do it for the love, and it's an addiction. Like, I just like making videos and it's fun. It's not like a job. But I do love it. I keep active in what's happening on YouTube, behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And
I'm somewhat looking even at this.
And false flagging and shit is, well, obviously in the political sphere, that's very, very, very much a thing, constantly trying to silence your opponents. And currently you got guys like fucking Mundane Matt. I'm probably going way over your head. It's like when I sit and have a conversation with Marcus and he's listing off all these people that he's talking to. He's like, this guy? And I'm like, no fucking idea who any of these people you're talking about.
Yep.
But Mundane Matt, he essentially built a career for himself on YouTube, 150,000 subscribers, around the Gamergate scandal when Zoe Quinn kept false flagging a bunch of his videos, which brought him a lot of attention because he got to be the victim. And he got a lot of support because of that. Well, it's just turned out that he's been false flagging people for months and months on end. Just anybody that criticises him in videos. He's had channels deleted and shit. It's a glorious thing to watch. You watch the kill stream that he appears on where people keep accusing him of it. And he's like, look, guys, like I wasn't around when it happened. I was out with my son. Like this hasn't happened. And then someone had the genius idea of saying to him, well, surely like you could just go into your YouTube account and you could show us the page where it shows videos that you've reported. And he suddenly went very, very quiet. And eventually, like, they're like, come on, oh no, this is bullshit. You've taken like 20 minutes and you've still not brought the screen up. Literally, look, just click this one link that we've sent you and it will open the page for us on the stream. We'll be able to see it. Yeah, it's a glorious, glorious moment. And also, like, I've never cringed as much because right before he clicked it, he's like, right, guys, there's something that I need to tell you. It's very fun. I will show it to you. But anyway, like his channel has nosedived ever since. And he's losing hundreds and hundreds of subscribers a day because false flagging people is a shitty thing to do.
Especially when you have claimed to be the victim of said fucking thing.
Yes.
So he's not only a hypocrite, he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's an asshole. He's a hypocrite.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, so Joey Sturgis of Joey Sturgis Tones, also co-owner of Now the Mix, has found himself in a bit of a scandal where it turns out he's done something similar. Young YouTuber made a video of the new Misha Mansour plugin that Joey's released and essentially said it was shit, dreadful, hated it.
He just kept saying it's fucking garbage over and over again.
I didn't even watch the video, so I watched the follow-up video, but I didn't see the original review. Cause
the original one's quite interesting. He does like an A/B tone test between what he's got going and like using that, and he's like, there's no way to EQ it to make it sound anywhere near usable. And he's like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, and I know what I'm doing. I know how to EQ. Here's what I would usually use in my tone, and this is what I use for this one. And it doesn't sound great, to be fair to him, but again, I don't want to speculate and say that he knows or he doesn't know what he's doing, but I don't think his first tone's particularly great either. But it's totally subjective. I think tone is totally subjective.
Yep.
It's a very hard thing to pass comment on. So I did see the original video. I haven't seen any of the follow-ups, so this makes it quite interesting.
So essentially what happened is the video got flagged for copyright. Joey flagged his video for copyright, and the young YouTuber emailed Joey saying, look, there's no copyright infringement on this video. I bought this plugin, I own this plugin. I've not used any of your content in this. Everything that is in the video is content that I've created. Please remove your strike. And Joey responded by saying, there is copyright violation in the video. You've used imagery from our website and stuff like that. And you just know instantly that it's desperation.
Bullshit.
It's desperation. He's trying to control the narrative. He's trying to control what people can and can't see, and he's trying to silence criticism, which I do understand it. And I'm going to go on a thing here, like, obviously, you can go to Amazon, you can look for Levi Clay, and you're going to find my books. A lot of work goes into those. I'm very passionate about my books and my writing, very proud of my books, and they get great reviews. But every now and again, I will get a review that's an absolute pile of shite. And
that's the danger of user reviews, though.
Yeah, and every fibre of my being wishes there was a way that I could remove these reviews. But there is no way for me to remove these reviews in a legitimate, reasonable way.
Yeah.
I just have to hope that people read these reviews and see that, if somebody's had a book on country guitar for beginners, and in the blurb and everything it says this is the perfect book for you if you've only just picked up a guitar and you want to learn to play country guitar, and there's a review of someone giving it 1 star saying this book's shit, it's all too easy, I hope people see through that. It doesn't stop me wanting to work out a way to have a review like that removed.
Yeah.
And I could actually respond to the review. That is an option. I could leave a comment and give feedback, but I choose not to do that because I don't think that there's very rarely a good way that you can do that and not come off as an asshole.
Just write "fuck you." Just reply "fuck you."
That's often what I think.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know what you mean though. It's when someone's reviewing your product that way, there almost is no correct way or dignified way to reply back.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like a platform like Amazon, because it could just come across that you're being quite aggressive. Even when you could put the most polite, like customer-centered, customer-centric statement together. Aye, it's worth just, that's your review, fair enough. We'll let the rest of the people speak as well.
Thing is though, you and I are both saying this because that seems apparent to us, but it's not always apparent to people.
It's not.
And so basically, after this copyright strike that Joey filed, and the guy made a video talking about the copyright strike that had happened, YouTube ended up reinstating the video and saying there's no copyright violation in this. So yep. Joey was totally in the wrong, like from a legal sense, from a moral sense, like just totally in the wrong. I like to believe in some sort of redemption. Hopefully, I'd like to see how Joey proceeds moving forward. He's put up a video holding his hands up, trying to draw attention to what he's done. Because the reason Mundane Matt deserves to die in a hole is because he has pretended this hasn't happened. He's not addressed it in any way, shape or form. Yeah. He keeps doing news stories about suicide and stuff like that and saying, sometimes people do stupid things when they're in a bad place. Like, just trying to subtly play the victim. And I hate that bullshit, whereas Joey seems to be okay with drawing attention to it, saying, look, guys, I fucked up.
Yep.
I've really fucked up. And I want to make this right. This isn't what I stand for. It's not what I'm about. I'm not going to lie. This guy was making videos, made a video, and it really got to me. And it shouldn't have got to me, but it really did get to me.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, I don't even think it's about it that being apparent or that being common sense, because that completely ignores the idea of emotional response.
Yeah.
And as you said yourself, you think this has just got the better of them.
We're not talking about Gibson here. It's not a multi-million-pound company.
No.
I mean, I'm sure Joey's company is big, but ultimately it's still his company.
And he's accountable, and he's the entrepreneur behind it.
Yeah, so criticism of it is criticising his baby. So I understand getting emotional. He didn't deal with it in the right way. I think what he did was totally shitty. But yeah, there are still some, looming questions. Has anyone else posted negative videos of plugins and he's had them removed and no light was shone on those? There's no real way to know, but all I can say is I hope that he's learned the lesson from this and moving forward. I don't have a horse in the race. I don't own any of his plugins. I am a member of Now in the Mix, but he's not particularly active on there. I don't particularly have any interest in any of his plugins, unless he wants to just send me some to try out. I've got, yeah. So cool. Again, it's an entrepreneurial thing, isn't it? He's making plugins and stuff, and he's a way for guys like Misha to make money. And yeah, cool. I just hope it works out in a good way for everyone. I was talking to John Brown about it, and he said that it seems like a big situation blowing up over nothing really. And I'm like, I do understand, but I feel Joey should just own it. Reach out to the guy and say, look, I totally fucked up here. Let me make this right. Here's a code. Download every single one of my plugins. Use them, don't use them, whatever. Like, and if there's anything I can ever do for you, I'm here, kind of thing. Hopefully he's heading down that direction. Yeah,
I'd like to think so. I mean, there's great opportunities in these things for people to get like sincere feedback from core customers who actually want to own and be happy using your products. And it all depends entirely obviously how you deal with that. And I don't think, with no offence to, I can't remember the YouTuber's name that done their initial review, that he's going to have much valuable feedback after the fact, considering the way it's all panned out. But that's a missed opportunity for Joey Sturgis and JST and Nail the Mix.
Yep.
So hopefully, as you say, they'll take something from that.
But therein is the dangerous thing. Like,
people.
It's people in general. It's that mob mentality. And when someone's down and you can kick them, if you don't like them, you're going to get a boot in. And evidently, there is a portion of the internet that really doesn't like Joey. They really don't like Joey.
Really?
And fair enough. Like, I can understand some people saying he comes across as arrogant. I think actually Doug has shared some of his posts in our private chat in the past where he's like, is it just me or does this guy look really fucking arrogant? And I'm like, I see it. I see what you're talking about.
I'll need to look him up again. But,
yeah, so you know he has a bit of a reputation, but I know what it's like to have a bit of a reputation. So,
well, you are opinionated,
yeah,
and rather vocal.
Just be who you are.
Quite right, mate. Yeah. Quite right.
So there is the worry that people are just trying to kick a man when he's down, but at the same time,
that'll also come out in the wash, though.
There's also the fear that maybe he's made an apology video because his business partners at Now the Mix have been like, look, you need to fucking do something about this.
Yeah, fucking behave yourself. You're in the public light here.
Yeah.
We'll just need to watch it and see how it develops.
Yeah, so it's totally something that I'm interested in. Don't false flag people.
That's some bad shit.
It's not. I've lost my YouTube channel. I can't believe I didn't mention that before. My YouTube channel literally got deleted because
I remember you being rather pissed off and upset and worried about it at that time.
Stressed.
Yeah, that's probably the most stressed I've ever seen you.
That was when I realised I loved YouTubing. I didn't make any money on YouTube, but I was making YouTube videos every couple of days because it was addictive and I loved it. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And I did some Mike Stern transcription videos and a Frank Gambale transcription video, and their manager flagged the videos as copyright infringement, despite the fact that the artist didn't own the footage. And it wasn't the artist's compositions. It was playing on a blues and things like that. So there was no legal claim. But even if there was a legal claim, you're talking about like two infamous jazz fusion improvisers. Like they get up and play songs that they didn't write all the time.
Yeah.
There you can literally buy instructional products of Mike Stern where in it he teaches you how to play over giant steps. It's like, sorry, did you write that song? Sorry, did you license that song to have it in this product? No, you didn't, because jazz has a long history of that's how it works. Like when Mike was in school, he would have been transcribing Charlie Parker vocabulary because Charlie Parker was, when he was growing up, would have been one of his heroes of the day. And well, in this generation, Mike Stern is as important to me as Charlie Parker was to people in the 60s and the 70s. So anyway, those two videos, two flags. So I made a video calling out the guy saying, what a piece of shit, he's flagged these two videos. And that was when he went into dangerous territory, which is, oh shit, this guy's calling me out. This guy's saying bad things about me. Flag it, flag it, flag it. Well, at that point, I had 3 videos flagged. Channel disappeared. That was a very stressful time. Fortunately, I managed to reach out to Mike Stern and talk with him on the phone. And he was like, don't worry, I'll get this fixed.
Another reason not to have a manager.
Yeah. Yeah, a manager that's willing to commit crimes in your name.
That's it, without you even knowing.
That's the point that's worth throwing out here. Like, not only is what Joey did like morally a bit shitty, it's also legally shitty.
Yep. You're not allowed to file false claims willingly and knowingly.
Yeah, you could find yourself in hot water for that. At the very least, you could lose your YouTube channel for it because it's against their terms of service. So, yeah. But having said that, if this kid wanted to sue, he'd need to prove damages. Mm-hmm. And there's no damages, unfortunately. It's, is what it is. Anyway, Joey, if you ever see this, it's actually quite tragic because when I joined Now the Mix, a guy that works there is one of my patrons, and he was like, yeah, I spoke to the guys and they don't have like a discount package that they could offer you to bring you in, but they'd love to have you on the podcast sometime. That's probably gone out the window now.
You done fucked up.
Yeah. I still like their service. Anyway, that's all we have for this episode. So bye fuckers.